The market didn't do much this week, but that is typical for late January. I'm Tony with Clarkson Santoro, and this is our real estate update for the week of Friday, January 23rd. We know that selling or buying a home can be very stressful and confusing. That's why we do these weekly videos so you can know how the market is impacting your options as a home seller or buyer. Starting off, let's see how the market performed this past week. There are now 23 homes active on the market, a little more than the 18 we had last week. And the average asking price increased a little bit as well, or more than a little bit, almost $100,000 to $1,972,000, up from $1,895,000 last week. Only one home went pending this week, and that pending sale was asking $1.325, much lower than the average of the 4 pending we had last week at $1,574,000. And 5 homes closed this past week, better than the 2 we had last week. And the average price of those closed sales reduced to $1,685,000, down from $1,792,000 last week. So now that we know how the market performed this past week, we can look at those broader trends and indicators that help us determine where the market is going to be heading this year. Before we do that, if you find this information helpful, you can hit the subscribe button down below so you don't miss out on future updates. And while you're down there, why not share this information with a friend? Everyone deserves to be in the know about their local real estate market. Okay, let's look at those broader indicators. Inventory is up to 23 homes, which is pretty normal for this time of year, although it is higher than we had last year. Like I mentioned last week, this is the time of year when homeowners slowly start putting their homes on the market. Inventory will most likely creep up towards 40 to 50 homes through February. What will be more important to keep track of is the pending sales, and if they start to pick up as inventory does. As it stands, so far pending sales haven't started to pick up. We only had 1 home go pending this week, like I already mentioned. And consequently, our turnover rate is dropping precipitously. That's a sharp decline right there. While the very anemic turnover rate of below 25% can be a bit alarming, the good news is that the turnover rate can flip very quickly with just a few pending sales while inventory stays so low. If inventory starts to climb, this will quickly become a much deeper hole to climb out of and solidify us in a buyer's market, which we're close to at the moment. While inventory and turnover rates have started out the year in a very buyer-friendly ranges, the over-under number is a bit surprising. It actually jumped into that over range. Here's our break-even line. And now the average closing price is, like I said, in the over range. Now that closing price is only less than 1% higher than the average asking price out of 12 homes sold, so it really only takes 1 or 2 homes to close well over asking to skew that average into the over range. And that is indeed what has happened here. But it still is encouraging to know that even in the midst of a buyer-friendly market, if you prepare your home and market it well, you can entice multiple offers. It's still possible. With the low sales volume, the average sales price is susceptible to large swings in value from month to month, depending on the price range that showed a lot of activity during that period. Furthermore, a single expensive home or notably affordable home closing can have an outsized effect on the average sales price in that period. That being said, our average sales price jumped about 10% this week compared to last week, although it doesn't really look like it here. We are now sitting at just over $1.85 million for the average closing price, again at $1,880,000. The triple Q continued to maintain a relatively flat, you can see this trend line, actually it's probably a little closer to that. With some ups and downs, it's stayed pretty flat over the past several weeks. It did drop about 0.5% from last week. This continues that month-long trend of staying within 1% plus or minus from the closing numbers that we saw at the end of the year. And speaking of little to no change, interest rates also showed no signs of significant improvement. In fact, they increased just a little bit, 3 basis points from last week. 3 basis points is negligible, but the increase makes it that much more unlikely that we will get below 6% anytime soon. This week showed signs of the spring market being softer than last year, but that can turn around quickly. With the low sales volume, it really only takes 1 or 2 good weeks to drastically change the counting statistics, especially this early in the year. The positive information to glean from this week for sellers is there is still possibility of selling quickly with multiple offers, but it takes much more intention in the preparation and marketing of your home than it would just even 2 years ago. The positive spin for buyers is that homes values aren't continuing to climb at a significant rate. In fact, like I mentioned with my year review, they dropped 2% year over year on average. And there appears to be a smaller buyer pool than usual, so you might not have to fight as many other buyers, if any at all, when you do find that house that you really want. Thank you for joining me for this weekly update. I hope it helps you understand how our market is impacting your options. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you can stay informed on how the market is shaping up this year. And if you have any questions about how you can navigate the stressful, confusing process of selling or buying a home, leave a comment down below or reach out to us directly. We're here to help guide you every step of the way. Thanks again for joining me. Have a safe weekend, and I'll see you next week with a new update.